It's time. Dusty has some questions for us, y'all. All right. So this is where, if you were here live, you could ask us questions. You could talk to Sharknice and Ketrock themselves and pick their brains. But we've got a couple good questions from Dusty here, so we'll start. Hold on, I gotta scroll up. All right. For bots that play their race, the creators know what's good and weak against certain races. For random bots, however, so this is a good question for you, Sharknice. How do you make the decision of certain build orders against your opponent? Are random bots programmed to do certain build orders depending on what race they play and opponent's race? So that is just you can plan for your opponent because of IDs and stuff, right?
Yeah, so it knows who it's playing and it will, pick a specific build against that bot. Yeah.
Pretty much. Does your opponent know? So obviously your opponent knows it's playing you, but it doesn't know the race that you've picked.
Right. It doesn't know. So it'll start out doing whatever it does against random, but
so it does make it harder for them to prepare against you.
It does, yeah.
I have a strategy for that, and it's exactly the same strategy I have versus human players. Is that if they're playing random, they're going to be cheesing. So my bot just plays a very defensive build to start versus random.
Yeah,
because it's really hard to code or learn 9 matchups in StarCraft 2.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you face random, you're going to get cheese so often.
Yeah.
I don't. Sharknice wasn't doing anything too cheesy.
That's
other
true.
than the
That's because you didn't see the Zerg or the Terran.
Oh yeah, we didn't see that.
Because Protoss is my main bot, Sharkbot. So
yeah.
If someone codes a competitive macro bot for all 9 matchups, that will be a scary day.
Or that just takes time, right? Like after a few more seasons of this, you should have a nice repertoire of builds, right, Sharknice?
Yeah, I mean, my Terran has okay macro builds, not top tier, but mid-high tier. The Zerg is not good at all, but that could change soon. So,
question for Sharknice: where do you get your builds from? Who inspires you? Other than your bot Sharknice, because isn't that where Whalemain gets some of the builds from? Or is it?
Yeah, well, Whalemain is basically a combination of all my 3 other bots.
Okay, so he absorbs all.
We'll use those builds. Sometimes I change them a little bit, so it's like you don't show your race till later type thing. But where do I get my builds from? I usually go on, I watch GSL, and if I see a cool build, I'm like, oh, I could do something like that. But what I guess the builds that I really like are it's like only a bot could do this type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm like, oh, that'd be really fun, like the warp prism, just mass warp prisms.
You can really get creative with that because the bot does not have the limitations that the human has. So you can have 5 warp prisms at once.
I'll watch any, whatever the cool new cheese is. I'll usually try to add something like that.
Botify it, as it were.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I have no interest in making my bot play like a human. I'm thinking like, what sort of broken stuff can I do because it's bot APM. And that War Prism Rast just seems like it's got so much potential to me, just because a human can barely handle 2 War Prisms, and only if they're together.
It also sounds like a nightmare.
It's kind of painful for bots to deal with too, because you see most of the bot logic works as they see a unit, and if it's gone, they forget, like they don't forget about if it's gone and out of vision, but if it's in vision and gone, they're like,
it died or
what's
something.
The deal? Like, is that unit just gone? Like, what's the deal with that? But it's in the warp prism, but they don't know that. There's no way for they can't even see. Well, even human players can't see how full a warp prism is. So you could see the unit go in there, but I don't think
there's
anyone's
no way for the
programmed
bots to see that either.
They could know that there's a warp prism there, and this unit suddenly disappeared. It must have won in the warp prism, but nobody's doing that yet, as far as I know.
Well, you're going to force them with all your warp prism play.
Maybe
force that evolution. So no, you don't study any pros, nothing like that. No.
Well, I watched SL, but like I watched some build where it was like the parting twist build or whatever, and that's what -0 started his with, and I was like adding it at the same time, but he did it really well. I only like half baked mine. He really got his adept micro down, and that's kind of what makes the build work.
All right, I think that's all our questions.
Check me out, no doubt I fit the game and reroute. Check me out, no doubt I fit the game and reroute. Check me out, no doubt I fit the game and reroute.